After almost 20 hours of travelling, we finally arrived in Mongolia, a bustling modern city with over half the country's population. Quite the contrast to the landscape we'd be travelling through. Before the bikes and the remote tracks, there was one day to explore the country, meet the group, and get our first glimpse of what lay ahead.
My name's Matt. I'm the owner of Hearts and Tears Motorcycle Club. We put these shows together. We take guys to crazy places around the world, and this time we did Mongolia. And it's been amazing.
My name's James, and yeah, I started working with Matt probably about a year and a half ago. Went on the tours in Morocco and around Spain as well, and you know, first time in Mongolia with Matt. That's been.
So of all the places that we run our tours, Mongolia just has the greatest sense of riding freedom. It's vast, it's open, you can make your own trails. So that's a pretty special experience. It's hard to come by in these days. And then coupled with the people, you've never met a more friendly, happy, they will do anything for you. And just a genuine bunch of guys. And you know, the combination of all those things make it a pretty special place.
Today we leave Ulaanbaatar behind and begin a 370-kilometre ride towards the Ulaanbaatar sand dunes.
What bike you've got, feel free to see how it feels for you. If you need some simple things adjusted, leave. And yeah, we'll potter around a bit, take a group photo, and then we're going to hit the road, boys. That's what you all came for. So.
The city traffic disappeared surprisingly quickly. Before long, we were riding west into the open country.
Cold?
A little bit fresh, watching out for the wild horses.
Where are you from?
Okay, I'm Christoph. I'm from Tunbridge in Kent, UK. Valley after valley after valley, we go through so many, and you can see for miles. And there are tracks that run through that you can stick to, or if you can see, you can spread out, and you've got bikes, sort of 10 bikes across, zooming through these valleys. And then looking back and seeing everyone there, it's that's a magic moment for me.
Our first stop came in the small town of Argaland. It wasn't much more than a dusty settlement along the route, but after a couple of hours in the saddle, any opportunity to stretch the legs was welcome. The first few hours weren't technically difficult, but they demanded constant concentration. Loose gravel, changing surfaces, and unfamiliar bikes meant there was never really a chance to relax. Lunch overlooked one of the first cultivated fields we'd seen since leaving Ulaanbaatar. Most of the morning had been spent crossing the open steppes where roads and tracks and the horizon often seemed to merge into one. Not long after lunch, the guides were already dealing with our first puncture. It was a reminder that out here, mechanical problems aren't an inconvenience. They're just part of adventure riding. And one thing quickly became obvious. Progress in Mongolia isn't measured by average speed. Every fuel stop, every break, and every unexpected delay becomes part of the day's journey.
I'm Jo. I'm from Brizzy at the moment.
And what prompted you to come on the trip to Mongolia?
Russ. He sent me a message randomly and said, I'm going on this amazing trip, once in a lifetime, you want to come? I'm like, yes. And then I asked him what it was.
What are you going to do when you get home?
Sleep. And probably book my next adventure and buy an off-road bike.
As the afternoon wore on, the kilometres began to take their toll. Like riding in Mongolia is physically demanding. You're constantly standing on the pegs, reading the terrain, and making hundreds of small decisions every minute. We've done about, I don't know, 300 kilometers maybe. This is hard, I tell you. We're gonna ache tomorrow. We just stopped for gas in the middle of nowhere. There's a toilet. There's a gas station. By now, fatigue was starting to creep in. After the fuel stop, we reached the tarmac road. We were getting closer to camp. There was still a long way to go. We spent almost an hour riding directly into the evening sun. And just when we thought the day was over, one final challenge remained.
Sand dunes and getting back out of here. There's no sand otherwise. And then it's more like you had today. So, do you want more sand?
After yesterday's long introduction to Mongolia, today's ride heads 180 kilometers towards the Orkhon Valley, one of Mongolia's most historic and scenic regions. Before leaving, there was one last chance to enjoy the dunes. For some, it was an opportunity to practice riding in the sand. For others, it was simply a reminder that the sand has a habit of finding your front wheel before you find your balance. Before hitting the off-road sections, we had a brief stop to see some of Mongolia's wildlife. Got 180 k's to do today. It's beautiful weather, and we've come from where you can see those two little mountains right over there. That's where we were in the sand dunes. Leaving the dunes behind, the landscape opened out once again. Long sweeping grasslands gradually gave way to higher ground as we made our way towards Kakhorin. So this is Kakhorin, once the capital of the Mongol Empire during the time of Genghis Khan, and a welcome stop for lunch.
Okay, my name is Zoltan Birinyi and I'm from BVI, originally from Hungary. Oh, we had one very cool mountain climbing, we're going up and down. It's like a foresty area, but it's very cool. I love the snowy part as well. It's probably the first day to get back, used to back onto the bike and get the muscles and the tendons stretched. So that took a few days before I can start to get back in practice.
Beyond Kakhorin, the route climbed steadily into the hills. The tracks became rougher, the rocks larger, and the riding noticeably more technical. Momentum, balance, and picking the right line suddenly mattered a lot more than speed. A short stop overlooking the river valley was a welcome excuse to take in the view. These moments became just as important as the riding itself, and it gave us a chance to appreciate just how vast and varied Mongolia really is. As As we descended into the Orkhon Valley, horses, streams and rivers seemed to be everywhere. The Orkhon Valley River winds its way along our route through some amazing mountains and volcanic scenery.
Love all the safety features.
So Gary, butcher, and I'm from England. Matt suggested Mongolia. It was a no-brainer. I'd never thought of travelling to Mongolia, and what an experience. The speed was definitely an eye-opener. Didn't always work out. A nice bruise to show for it, which we won't put on the camera. That was the hard point. The learning curve was like this. It's just, and to be with such an amazing bunch of people is fantastic.
Cool. After some short road sections, the final approach to camp proved to be a bit more demanding riding than we'd encountered so far, especially at the end of the day. Around 35 kilometers of rutted off-road tracks demanded more concentration. By the time we arrived, everyone had a well-deserved rest. Tonight's stop overlooked the Orkhon Valley at almost 5,000 feet. The air was noticeably colder than the previous night, but after another full day on the trail, a warm meal, beer, and a roof over our heads was all anybody was thinking about. Tomorrow, we'd continue west, following the Orkhon River deeper into central Mongolia. From Orkhon, we'd travel north 170 kilometers to Tetseleg, and finally Taikar Rock. It didn't take long before we reached the Orkhon waterfall. Although the falls themselves were a bit dry, the volcanic landscape surrounding them was every bit as impressive, and a reminder that Mongolia's scenery is constantly changing. By the third day, the bikes were starting to feel familiar. Leaving the falls behind, we spent much of the morning following the river. Herds of horses and yaks grazed across the valley, and eagles circled high above us, making it easy to understand why this region has become one of Mongolia's most celebrated national parks.
Perfect. Hi, I am Alejandro Chometowski, originally from Argentina, living in British Virgin Islands, and I decided to invite my son. So it's a very exciting trip. Everything is exceptional. The landscape, the views, the freedom of riding in across the field. But it's a challenging trip. Places where you can ride freely up the hill where you want or down the hill where you want. Or it was one of the most nicest things, I believe, that
The route climbed steadily away from the river and into a series of forest tracks and rolling hills. Every few kilometers, the scenery seemed to change again, making it one of the most varied riding days of the trip. Water also became a common feature of the day. Not every river crossing went entirely to plan.
Oh!
guys go swimming?
Before long, boots were wet, bikes were dripping, and everyone was taking a well-earned break in the sun while the riding gear dried out. By late afternoon, we arrived at our camp near Taikar Rock. The rock is a local sacred spot for Mongolians, said to have been placed there by the wrestling god.
My name's Dominic. I'm from Abersoch in northwest Wales. Every day's just been something new. Just another bit of riding that's been faster, more flowy, just a different valley. You come around a corner and there's another expanse of landscape you've never seen before. It's hard to describe until you actually see it. A lot of fast twin track, top gear, open, just flowing down tracks. Just incredible. Yeah.
But the riding wasn't quite over. A visit to a local nomadic family was planned and offered a chance to experience another side of Mongolia. The generations continue to live from the same land, following the same traditions that have changed very little over time.
The water out from the milk, and then there's a white water, yellow water stay in the bottom of the milk. So we cook it, add some sugar, then it becomes.
Whoa!
That'll clear your
Oh,
sinuses.
I'm awake now. Okay, let's go, running.
Guys, on the fence.
On the fence?
I feel like that was a pretty well balanced distance, in my opinion. Tomorrow, we had planned 240 kilometres. However,
It's a spa day.
we have managed to rejig things and reroute things. So for tomorrow.
The route from Taikar Rock takes us 240 kilometers north again, through the hills to Korgo Mountain and White Lake. For the first time on the trip, day began under grey skies. The rain was never particularly heavy, but it was enough to remind us the weather could change just as quickly as the terrain. As the morning went on, the skies cleared and the clouds cast dark shadows on the hills. Takes us higher into the hills as more trees and rocks emerge, and so does a random remnant of winter.
G'day, I'm Russ from Oz, up in central Queensland. Oh mate, the scale of Mongolia just breaks your brain. You know, you're riding through open valleys where you can see forever in every direction, and there's absolutely nothing out there. No fences, no signs, no bugger all, just grass, sky, and the odd gur sitting there, but riding at pace across the steppe with your mates, you know, spread out around you. You know, everyone pinned and grinning. That's the stuff you just can't buy. Yeah. You know, after 1,200 clicks of dirt, your body knows about it. Your arms are like wet spaghetti at the end of the day.
Lunch was a welcome break in a small roadside village, where a simple bowl of hot noodle stew tasted far better than anything we'd have expected after another morning on the bike. Encounters like these kids offered a glimpse of everyday life far from Mongolia's larger towns.
Hi, bye. Hi, bye.
Tom from England originally, but living in Tortola, BVI. Yeah, I think just probably yesterday was fantastic. Yesterday afternoon, blasting across the steps, high speed, scaring yourself, backing off, and then then cracking on and going even faster. Just going to the edge of fear, coming back and then pushing past it. Yeah, for sure. I think the first day was that was absolutely brutal. I guess we knew it was going to be quite hard, but yeah, getting the final approaches to camp after 390 k's, getting into the sand, stacking it, picking the bike up, falling over again, just the exhaustion there was unbelievable. So really pleased I got through that.
By the afternoon, the landscape began changing once again. The grasslands slowly gave way to ancient volcanic country, rocky outcrops, deep valleys, replacing the steppe that we'd become used to. Korgo volcano last erupted thousands of years ago, but its presence still dominates the surrounding landscape. Some of the group climbed up to the summit, still wearing their heavy bike boots. Only a few kilometers beyond the volcano, White Lake finally came into view. Surrounded by volcanic hills, it felt completely different from anywhere we'd ridden so far. The scenery had changed again, and so had Mongolia. White Lake marked the halfway point of our journey across Mongolia, but the toughest riding was still to come. Tomorrow, the route would take us higher into the mountains, where the trails would become rougher. Today we head further north, through Jargaland, onto the remote Zerk Lake, 160 kilometers away. Compared with the previous day, today's distance looked much more manageable, but by now we'd learned that in Mongolia, the distance on a map rarely reveals the whole story. It wasn't just the scenery that changed. The riding became more technical, loose rocks, steep climbs, and some rough descents, demanding lots of concentration. It was the kind of terrain where small mistakes quickly caught up with you. Numerous small ditches and streams had to be crossed and then recrossed. Not all attempts were successful either.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm Aaron. I'm a Kiwi living in the British Virgin Islands. We do most of the biking in Ulaanbaatar. This is kind of like, well, to me, one of the last kind of frontiers. You know, open fields, and we're just ripping through amazing landscapes, wild horses. It's freaking beautiful. As I said, I don't know. It is just going through the, double tracks, the fast parts. And today's been really challenging. We went up to a really high point, lots of gravel roads. It was quite technical and, yeah, definitely pushing boundaries and limits. Definitely today going up that hill. In fact, coming down anything in the gravel kind of upsets me a little bit.
At more than 6,000 feet, the scenery felt completely different again. Small farms appeared in sheltered valleys, surrounded by forests and winding rivers that looked more like the Alps than the Mongolia we'd experienced just a few days earlier. Lunch in Jargaland offered another chance to regroup before heading back into the wilderness.
My name's Lee Hewson. I'm from Newcastle upon Tyne, but I'm living in Australia for the last 15 years. This gave me an opportunity to go to a place that I hadn't been to yet and was largely inaccessible and difficult to travel around and do it in a way which was quite novel and quite different to how I've travelled in other parts of the world. Streams, rivers, mountains, through valleys, gorges, plan your own route. You're not stuck to trails. It's all open spaces, no fences, no walls, no private property. And I think the sort of freedom that affords you is something that you struggle to find elsewhere in the world.
Once we left town, there would be very little to interrupt the ride for the rest of the afternoon. From there, the route continued through some of the most remote countryside we'd seen so far. Fuel stops became fewer, villages smaller, and once again, it felt as if we had the landscape almost entirely to ourselves. Late in the afternoon, Zerk Lake finally appeared over the crest of a hill. After another demanding day, it was one of those views that instantly made the effort worthwhile. Today's ride would take us north towards Hovsgol Lake, often called the Blue Pearl of Mongolia. At 220 kilometers, it looked like another achievable day on paper. But Mongolia had one or two surprises in store. Several days on the trail, passing vehicles were fewer and farther between as we climbed higher. From there, the route climbed steadily towards the Tsagan-Bagazin Pass.
Michael Butcher, and I'm from Western Australia, live in Perth. Never done it, first time. Hopefully not the last, because it was bloody good fun. Overall scenery and sleeping in the gers and meeting the locals, it's just been fantastic. I haven't ridden a bike for I think 10 years, so that was a little bit of a concern. Yeah, but apart from that, it's been all right, I think. Really enjoyed it.
The descent proved even trickier than the climb, wet tracks down the mountainside. But then came the biggest reminder yet that adventure riding always carries some risk.
Can you move your toes?
Can you move that leg?
Move your toes.
Yeah, I can move everything.
Can you try and lift that leg and put it straight?
It's going to be sore.
Okay.
Shoulder, right?
Thankfully, after a few anxious moments, it became clear that the injuries were more painful than serious.
Ah, he's laying on my hand.
Sorry, mate.
Right.
Get up, you faker. Come on.
He was just making sure there was feeling in it.
Compared to that rock that you fell off.
Here, there's a jacket here. 1 second.
Fine.
Yeah, it's safer.
Top of the world afterwards.
Nice and tight, that one. Oh, hello. Hello.
And taking time to recover, we were able to continue with Gary in the Jeep. Lunch in Maroon felt like a return to civilization after days in the wilderness. It would also be our last sizable town before reaching Mongolia's largest freshwater lake.
Yeah, my name is Nico and I come from Argentina. So my dad invited me to the trip. Best part is doing all this with my dad, which makes it quite special. Kind of a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Adventure spirit, I guess, with him, and doing this trip together is definitely the highlight. I think some of the part of the trips were quite technical and I was definitely not used to that. A lot of learnings, definitely. A few falls, but a lot of learnings in that sense. But it was quite hard, yeah.
From Maroon, the group split into two routes. Some riders continued off-road, while others followed the highway in the rain towards Hufskull Lake. Late in the afternoon, Hufskull Lake finally came into view.
Well done again.
Woohoo! We're going to need the fires in the gears.
Yeah, let's do it.
I might even put the fire on myself today.
Yeah, I reckon.
Stretching more than 100 kilometers from north to south, it's one of the oldest and deepest lakes in the world, containing around 2% of the planet's surface freshwater.
Now the second one to catch up.
After yesterday's demanding day, today's ride would be shorter, but it would take us into the Corrigal Mountains where another completely different landscape was waiting. The morning greeted us with low clouds and mist hanging over a lake.
Yeah, my arms are falling off.
It gave the landscape a completely different atmosphere. It also meant that the tracks ahead were wetter, muddier and more challenging than they appeared. There, the trail climbed sharply up into the mountains. Tight switchbacks led us steadily higher till the trees disappeared and the views began to open up across the surrounding valleys. Although the weather never completely cleared, the mist drifting across the mountain tops gave the landscape a character all of its own. Sometimes, perfect conditions create the most memorable scenery. ride back down demanded just as much concentration as the climb. Steep descents, slippery tracks and hidden obstacles kept everybody focused right to the bottom. After nearly a week together, Mongolia still had a way of reminding us not to become complacent.
Run down, run down.
That looks hard. You hit that tree trunk.
Yeah. You okay?
Give a hand with this one. You alright, mate?
Yeah, knee and ankle. I don't think anything's broken.
No?
Nothing's broken. Just landed on it. Leg.
Alright.
Lead up. Yep.
You all right? Yep. Whole bike on top of it, top of the ankle. So just a bit ouchy.
Bit ouchy.
Ouchie.
That's a medical term, that one.
Oh, don't worry, I've got it all on video. I didn't get the crash, but I got the whole scene, the log. It's all there.
Our final evening on the trail ended with traditional Mongolian music and throat singing, with a chance to thank the guides and the support crew.
So, before we depart, I would like to acknowledge just how amazing you guys are. The Kana leading the way, just so cool and composed. Keeping the pace. Outstanding, you know. Didn't break a sweat. Just came out as well. Driving the Land Cruiser, and also over here too, in the driving the patrol as well. Fantastic. But regardless, Bogey, you're the man, dude. Bogey's the brains behind it all. Obviously, a part of every element of the whole show as well. But Bogey, thank you very much. Thank you. Cool guys.
The expedition was almost over. For the first time, I was beginning to feel that way.
시기 없이 도심 하나 술땐 널 털털 목디 속도 흘러가는 도랑 호흡 푸는 행심마치 호흡 생기는 날 몽골도로 못 쏘습니다.
After 8 days on the trail, the final ride had arrived. Only 100 kilometers remained between us and Meron Airport.
Go, go. Next.
Woohoo! Yeah! Woohoo!
See you.
Exalted out. Hey!
Nice.
By now, the riding felt very different from that first day out of Ulaanbaatar. The terrain hadn't become any easier. We'd simply become better at reading it, and Gary also decided to get back on the bike.
A couple of hours from.
And he's back.
We're going to try it. Let's see.
Fucking hills galore and places to play.
Beep, beep.
How's that feel?
I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Just getting on and off is the challenge, but I think we'll be okay if you're happy.
You alright?
Yeah, just a bit tense.
Bit bouncy on the rocks.
I don't like the rocks.
Final kilometres passed surprisingly quickly. There was no finish line, no crowd, just the quiet realization that the journey was coming to an end.
There we go, we finished 1,600 kilometers across Mongolia, and we are here at Moran Airport. We're going to fly back to Ulaanbaatar, and we're done.
Now, one by one, the bikes were handed back to the team that kept them running day after day and carried us across sand desert, mountains, steppes, rivers, and rocky trails with virtually no complaints.
Legends.
Thank you, Bogies. And when you're
Cheers.
ready,
Cheers, Ozan.
yeah, it was good. I was
Give it to me and I will take it in. Not a problem. Thank you.
I think it's one of the last untouched places you can go and ride a bike freely without being on someone's private land. And to go on a trip with my brother, Dan,
Look at the synchronization.
and to go with my buddies from here, you know, who I've grown up with the last 15 years. Scenery. I think the high point really was flying into Ulaanbaatar, basically in the steppe. So as soon as you walk out the gate and you're immediately in the steppe, there's no like urbanization or industrialization around the airport. To me, that was a real highlight. Definitely some of the guys had some challenges with their hands, especially on the first day, 12 hours on the bike in the saddle. But yeah, if it wasn't for those padded shorts, sitting on the bike for 12 hours on the first day would be definitely way more challenging.
It's the dead of silence when you stop. You pull over, kill the engine, and you hear nothing. No traffic, no sirens, no noise. Just the wind as it's rolling across the grass as it has been forever. The kind of emptiness here is next level. And Mongolia, well, mate, it's got it in spades. So once you've experienced the vastness, well, it's going to be hard to go back to the noise.